outs, like how we are going to make the document, the format, isn't it? So there are functional requirements, there will be non-functional requirement as well. So this is very important. So suppose, for example, we keep track of these information. What are the things that the admin will be using, will be requiring? So all those things has to be listed out. Okay. So all those things has to be listed out. So first of all, the admin can log in, like for example, by providing username and password, isn't it? Admin can add, delete, and update categories. Let's say this we are doing for an e-commerce website. So let's see what are the things the admin will be doing and what the user of the customer will be doing. Okay, the admin can log in by providing the name and password. The admin can add, delete, and update any category of product. The admin can add, delete, and update any subcategory or brand information. The admin can add, update any product information. The admin can view the orders that has been placed by any customer. The admin can view the list of new orders which have been placed. The admin can view the list of confirmed orders. Okay. So all those things, the admin can view how many orders have been dispatched, how many canceled, how many delivered, okay, how many number of registered users are there. Then uh, and then other things are also there, like user can browse. These are the admin part, okay. Whereas let us see from the user category point of view, the user can browse through the list of shop products displayed in various categories and brands. If user likes a product, then what will happen? He will add it into the shopping cart, right? But first, he needs to register into the system by providing his name, email ID, and password, okay. Then the user will provide like details about where the address of will be shipped items like house, flat, building number, all these things. The user will be able to track the order, okay. And if the user wishes to cancel the order, then he can do that by providing reasons why he wants to cancel that particular order, okay. So all these basically are the functional requirements. That means the requirements of how a system will be functioning, okay. So that's why that is the reason it is called functional requirement. Then when we talk about non-functional requirement, then these are the non, like it should be easy. The GUI should be very much properly designed so that the users can use it very easily. The system should have a very high responsive time. So these things are there in the non-functional requirement. But this is how before making an SRS, you have to list it down, okay, point wise. Then after that, you have to make the SRS for admin and then for the customer. So let's say, for example, the first SRS requirement will be something like this, SRS 001. Okay. So what is the name of the requirement name? Let's say login. Okay. And the description may be this SRS, the requirement of this SRS is that the function will enable the administrator to log into the system by if the admin provides a valid username and password. So what is the priority? It's a mandatory requirement. Okay, these are the fields: serial number, requirement name, requirement description. Okay, that means the description of this SRS and the priority. Then again under this, there will be again its subpaths. Okay, so subpaths means, let's say this is 001. So under this, there may be two possibilities, isn't it? Possibility one, possibility two. So that's why this has been extended 001 dot point one. Okay, then this is 001.2. Okay, that means it is a possibility under the SRS 001 only. Okay, so in 001.1, what is happening is it is a login part only, but if found valid, then the system will direct the admin to the admin homepage. Okay, and it's a mandatory requirement. If suppose the login credentials are found to be invalid, that means the username or the password is incorrect, then it will again redirect the admin to the admin login page only. That means in the same page it will be there. Okay, but if it is correct, then it will be directing the admin to the admin homepage. Okay, so that way then once this is successful, let's say now we have like classified that under SRS 001, there will be two requirements. If the login ID and password is valid, it will direct the admin to the admin home page. If it is incorrect, then it will redirect the admin to the admin. SRS 002, what can do? There are two things, insert and delete details. Okay, so admin can add or delete category, brand, and product details. Okay, this is also a mandatory requirement because the admin should have the power to add any new product. The admin should have the power to delete any product, to add any new brand, to delete any new brand, and so on. Okay, those details the admin can have. SRS 003, the admin can view all categories, all types of brands, all types of products, and he should be able to place the order as well. Okay, so this may be the SRS name is what? View details. Okay, and this is also a mandatory requirement. Then SRS 004. So this is an update detail part, isn't it? So admin can update any information like category, brand, product, and order details. If information is already there, that can be updated more. If suppose add-ons information are received. And SRS 005 is log out. So the admin can log out from the system whenever he or she wants. Okay. Then SRS for the user side. So in the user side, there will be one more step, that is the registration activity. So SRS 001 will take care basically of the registration. So this function will enable the user to register to the SAFE system by providing the email name, email ID, and password and other details. And this is also a mandatory requirement because until and unless the registration is not done, then the customer or the user will not be able to log in. 002, again, it's like a login. So this function will enable the user to do what? To log in into the system by providing a valid email and password. Now again, there will be two choices. If suppose the details which is given, it's correct, then it will direct the user to the home page. And if suppose the details given by the user is incorrect, then it will redirect the user to the login. Okay, so that's why this SRS 002.1 and 2.2, okay, they are under SRS 002. So these are two possibilities. That's why the prefixes have been fixed as 002 only. Okay. Then SRS 003. So from the name itself, what does it do? It search details. So customer can browse through the shop products by providing category name, product name, etc. It's basically the search function which we are doing. Order details. So if suppose he or she is placing the order, so customer can place the order by providing house, that all these things. Okay. Profile will be basically for viewing. SRS 006 is for updating. If suppose the customer wants to update his profile details like shipping details or maybe card details, okay, so that can be updated. Cancellation also will be another functional requirement, so that will be there. Okay, so that this part will basically take care of the cancellation of the product. Okay, then SRS 008 will be basically be taken care by the user to log out from the system whenever or he she wants it. Okay, then again, if you see here, again, more SRS will be there. That means, see, in admin part, if you look here, we had talked about like adding information, deleting information, isn't it? So this will be further like classified, you can say. Further it will be broken up. So SRS for only adding category. So in adding, like various things can be done, like insertion, updation, deletion, viewing, all. Okay, so under the adding category of the admin, we have, let's say, insert details, view, update details, delete details. Okay, and these are all mandatory requirement because the admin should be able to perform all these operations. Okay, then the admin should be able, here we are adding only category wise, isn't it? But the admin should also be able to add what? Brand and the product, isn't it? So same thing only, but here it is only performing the operations on the brand information. So, okay, so it's inputting new brand name, it's editing the existing brand name, he is like deleting the existing brand name, or he can log out. product also, same thing only. Uh, SRS for order details from the admin side, what he can do, he can only the view the details, the orders which has been placed. He can accept the order and he can accept and dispatch the items that can be another SRS and he can log out. Okay. Then he can check for the, this is for the user part, this is the admin. For placing order details, basically the user will be viewing, he'll be inputting the details, he'll be viewing the information and he'll be logging out. For cancellation, again, this will be from what? From the user point of view. So he will be doing two things, like he'll be, this is only for canceling order. So he'll be performing the cancellation activity or he will be logging out. Okay. Okay, so that is how you can make an SRS. So I'll give you a copy because in your minor project also first you have to develop an SRS, isn't it? So that way we will be doing it. Okay. So DFT basically it's a data flow diagram, which is also very important in your structured analysis part. Okay. So DFD basically shows the graphical representation of how data actually flows in a system. Okay. It shows how information is system and then how the input, I mean to say, the data that is being inputted to the system is processed and we derive output from the system. Okay, what are the sources, what are the destination and where that information is stored. All these things are very, very important in a DFD or in a data flow diagram. Okay, so these are certain notations that you need to know in a data flow diagram, like external entity, first thing. So what is an external entity? It is uh, uh, the person or maybe the entity involved who will be basically be handling the system. Okay, let's say for example, handling or maybe you can say who will be interacting with the system. Okay, let's say for example, in an e-commerce, right? Who are the people who will be basically interacting an e-commerce system or an e-commerce website or an app? Basically, the administrator who will be uh, uh, updating information about the products, will be keeping track, isn't it? Will be making the system basically, will be using the system from the company side. And on the other side, it is the customer who will be placing the order, who will be the system. Okay, like for example, whenever we go to an Amazon shopping website also, isn't it, we are the customer, so we are interacting with the website or Amazon's website or maybe Amazon's mobile application, so we are one of the external entity. Similarly, on the other side, those information are coming in the Amazon website or in the Amazon mobile application. Is it coming by itself? No, an administrator has to be there who will update all those information, isn't it, on a daily basis. So the administrator on behind the screen will be basically be updating, adding new information about new products. Okay, all those things will be controlled by the administrator. Okay, so that also will be the external entity. Then process basically will tell us about the activities which will be carried out. Okay. Um, in the whole system. Okay, what are the actions that we are carrying out? Okay, and there are certain rules also of making a DFD, so that also we will see. Then next is data, how data will flow in the system. Okay, from where it will be generated. Okay, uh, how the data will be transformed into some meaningful information and where it will be stored. Storage space where it will be stored is the data store. And if suppose we are generating any kind of output report in the sense like bill or something like the billing information, okay, then we have to show that as well. So each of these things, they have certain symbols, like external entity is something like this, like a rectangular process, oval, data flow, you have the arrow in one direction only, okay, array kind. Data store, you have this rectangle, but one side it is open, and this side you are having parallel kind of thing. And a report or output is like a SIM card. So these things basically you have to know very nicely what symbols you are using where. Okay, so that is very, very important. Otherwise, there will not be, there will be errors in it. Okay. Okay. Into a DFD, let us first see some of the rules that we should know in making a DFD. So this is what we were talking about. Like entities are basically source and destination of information data. So who is generating the information is also an entity, and who is consuming that information, that is also an entity. Processes, again, the activities and actions that one takes in transforming the data into information. Okay, so that is a process. Data storage or data store is basically uh, means where we are storing the data or information. Data flow is shown how data will flow into the system by pointed arrows. Okay. So DFD is very important for any good software design because it shows how we are constructing basically a software. What are the various features or functions the software will have? What the software will be working? Okay, what are the various functions that the software will be having? How will it will be working? What are the data it will be taking in? So that is the reason DFD is very important, and one needs to know very nicely in how to make a DFD. So that comes basically in the earlier phase only. Once you have prepared the SRS, then the next thing that you should work is on the DFD. So you have to be first of all clear what are the various elements that are there in a DFD. So that is there, entities is there, process is there, data store is there, and the data flow arrow is there. Okay. So entity, as we have said that entity is nothing but the people in layman term, if I say, are the ones who will be basically be interacting with the system. So for an e-commerce website, we have taken an example that the people who will be basically be responsible or who will be interacting with the system are the administrator, and on the other side, it is the customer or the user, that is us. Then similarly, for the process, when we show a process with an oval structure, isn't it? So process is nothing but the activities that is being carried out in this that is being carried out uh, by the system. Okay. So let's say, for example, we said that the admin can add, update, delete, isn't it? So what are those? Those are activities, and behind each of the actions that take place or the activities that takes place is nothing but the SQL query. When I say insert some new product into the website, so when I say insert some new information, what I am doing at the background in the code, I'm running an SQL insert query, isn't it? Similarly, if suppose we want to update any kind of information, so when I show that with a process, so ultimately what I'm doing is I am running an update query at the background of that process. Okay, so something like that. Okay, so that has to be shown very neatly and nicely in the data flow diagram so that people understand what we are trying to do. So in a DFT, basically, again, there are many levels because it just one diagram is not sufficient to represent anything. So the first thing that comes in a DFD is the context diagram. That is the first diagram that in a DFD one has to build, or the level zero. Okay, diagram in a DFD. So the context diagram actually is the most abstract data flow representation of the system. Okay, it shows the entire system in a one single bubble only, and the system is named after the main function of the system, or let's say after the project. Okay, like for example, if suppose someone is doing library management system, then it is named as library management system, and numbering starts with 0. Okay, so the data input to the system and the data output from the system are represented with the incoming and outgoing arrows. So whenever we make a context diagram, let us see with an example. So this is an online shopping system. Okay, this is a context level diagram. So let us try to understand now. In a context diagram, basically we we just get an overview of the entire system of how things work. Okay, in context diagram, we are not going into the detailing or into the depth of what are the operations that are being taking place. We are just only being concerned with the overview of what basically the system is, and the things which will be there in the system, only that thing will be there. Okay, so let's say this is the context diagram process. Okay, so this is named the first process. That means in the context diagram, this process is named after the system. So that means if your project name is online shopping system, it will be named accordingly that way. If suppose someone is doing railway reservation system, then it will be railway reservation system. Okay, then this line will be there. Okay, like it will divide the entire circle or oval, you can say, into two halves, but this which should be little bit lower, and the numbering should be 0. Clear? Now, how many entities are there? External entities too. Why we call as external entities? Because these entities will be interacting with the shopping system, isn't it? And doing some work, customer will be putting up order and all that, isn't it? So first of all, we remember what did we say that the admin should be will be providing login credentials like username and password, and he should be able to log in, or if the credentials are incorrect, then he will not be able to log in and will redirect to the login page. So when the the login credentials here, so he will get certain response. Okay, so whether the response is positive or negative, that will depend. So I'm showing just with one arrow only. He will be able to manage various information, like for example category. So manage here in this context means like he can add, update or delete accordingly. Manage brand means same thing, he can add, update, delete. He can view as well. Okay, manage product, same thing. Okay, and manage order also, you can check who are the ones who have made the order and so on. Okay, so it will give you just an overview only, it will not say that add this, do this. Okay, so that is the reason this is there. The customer on the other side, what he has to do, he cannot directly log in. First he has to create an account, isn't it? So for that he has to register. So once he has registered, he'll be generating username and password, and accordingly he'll be able to log in, and the response will be there whether he'll be able, like whether he is being able to log in or he's unable to log in. Then accordingly, he can manage order. That means he can put up the order. He can make payment. Okay. He can make order. Manage order means he will select like which are the items that he wants to order, and accordingly he'll make payment and confirm the order. And the customer can also view the order depending upon the order ID. He can track, okay, all those information. So this is roughly the context diagram or the level 0 diagram. And if you see the arrows, if you see the arrows, it is all going into the system, only this is coming back. So if any data you are getting back from the system, the arrow will be flowing from the process to the entity. If you are giving some data to the system, then in that case, the arrow will be from the entity to the process. Okay, so this is how the context diagram or the level 0 diagram is made. Okay, so that is level 0. Now we will break the process. So that is breaking up takes place in the first level. That was level 0, context diagram. This is first level DFD. So how will it work? So let's say we have these processes: login, manage category, then manage brand, manage product, manage order, and so on. Okay. So far, is it clear or am I too fast? Yes. Am I fast?
No, sir, no.
Okay, okay. So the same thing, now this process has to be decomposed or has to be broken up, right? So when we go to the next level, this parent process will be broken up. So we will be basically be breaking up depending upon the activities that we will be performing. Okay, where is it? So in the first level DFD, if you see first, what this first level DFD is only for admin, not for the customer. Okay. So first of all, the admin will be email ID and password process. So this process will basically take care of the login thing. Okay, this process will basically be taking care of the login thing. So once the admin provides email ID and password, then his credentials, that means email ID is already stored in the database or in the data store. So this process will fetch it. It will bring it out from here. It will bring it. So let's say the email address is something 1234 at gmail.com. Password is XYZ. So it will check from the data store. Okay, so it will fetch here, and this process will compare whatever the information has been supplied by the admin and whatever data has been retrieved from the data store, whether it is same or not. If it is same, then the admin will get a response that yes, login is successful, and it will redirect and it will direct to the home page. If it is not, then it will get a message that there is an error or username or password is incorrect. That's it. Okay, so this is the first one. So that's why we are saying 0.1. 0 is the, from these, all these processes are coming from where? From the context diagram from level 0. So that's why, since we have derived these processes from level 0, hence hence we will not be able, so hence we have to number as per the context diagram. Okay, the next is manage category. So again, admin will input, no, but here managing category means managing what kind of manage he will do. He will insert if a new category of product has come. He will update if a new category of product is there. He will delete if suppose some product is no longer available. Okay, so accordingly he will do that, and he will store all those updated information into the database. So that is the reason, if you see the arrow is flowing here and then from the process is going here, it is not going inside. Why? Because the records are already present in the table, and that has to be fetched, it has to be taken out, it, and then the process will compare. But in this case, it will not fetch anything. In fact, what the information has to be stored here, and accordingly he will get the response. Okay, then similarly for the brand, okay, yes, the brand and product, same thing. If suppose new brand of some uh, I need to say product has come, so accordingly he has to update that, isn't it? Now if you see, every time the updation will take place based on certain parameter. Okay, like for example here, when he is making any updation, the administrator, he will update based on the category ID or details of the category. Similarly, if he's making some updation related to the brand, then there will be some brand name or brand ID. Okay, he will make the updation and he will store that in the database. Similarly, for product also, if he's making certain kind of updation with respect to product, then there has to be some ID, unique attribute, isn't it? Primary attribute. So based on that only, he will be able to make the updation. Okay. Same thing. If he wants to manage also. Now this thing will be broken up, because see, we are writing manage. Now manage also, if you look here, for every one there will be different one. Okay, for example here, 0.2 manage category, only for this. Now only this will be broken up. Okay, in this case it will be 0.2.1, 0.2.2. Why? Because under manage, again, many sub activities are being performed. What are those sub activities? Let us see. Generally, it is up till three. Okay, three levels only.
Yes, sir.
And in level one, you can make processes in between 3 to 7. So minimum in level one there should be 3 processes, and a maximum up
माइक
to
ऑफ
7.
करना आवाज
हाँ
Okay,
क्या हुआ?
वो माइक ऑफ करे ना एको हो रहा है बस
Okay.
so that is how it works. And okay,
And sir,
now in
like,
second
do
level
we
we
have to like make similar diagrams like this for our report?
Yes, yes, I'm taking everything from the report only. I that's why I thought that everything to do from a very project oriented way, so that it will help you in your project also. Are you getting the point on that?
Yes,
So
sir.
that is the reason. That is the reason. But is it difficult so far? Whatever I have spoken about SRS, or it is okay? Like I've shown SRS also, know how to make and all. So
Yes, sir.
could you understand what I have shown?
So can you please repeat the question? I couldn't hear it properly.
No, like I said that I showed today like how SRS should be made also. One example I took, no, with this relevance to online shopping sites. So could you understand of how SRS
Yes, sir.
also
Yes,
has
sir.
to
Yes,
be
sir. I
made?
could understand that one.
Okay. And context diagram level 0, how it's to be made,
Yes, sir.
the symbols and all. Okay. So this will help you in your project also. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So you all want to do more today, or it's okay for today? You'll go through whatever have you done. Because 7 level, if I do, then you might be
Yes, sir.
confused also in one day, isn't it?
It's fine for today. We have been taught a lot today. So we'll have to process everything right now, whatever you have taught right now.
Okay, okay. Then you just take the attendance and you share in the group.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. I've taken the attendance already.
Okay then. Okay
Yes,
then.
sir.
Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.